the original foragers were ancient humans, and you can't forage an environment without becoming intimately aware of the entire ecosystem and tracking things like seasonality and populations, distributions. And in this area, there's a ton of this Greenbrier stuff. The stuff just like is really kind of brutal thorns. It's forming a really big thicket. And so one thing foragers did historically and can do now is to manage populations in wild ecosystems through foraging or related practices such as trimming, coppicing, harrowing, burning, most of all, historically very widely known now to be a common method of ecosystem transformation used by indigenous North Americans to create a more favorable environment for their food resources such as deer and plant life. So I try to integrate that into my foraging practices. I think, how can I manage this ecosystem through foraging? One way people do this is by foraging introduced species, but that's questionable whether that's going to have a good effect. I think it's not going to hurt as long as you're not spreading them inadvertently some way. In this area right here, it's almost impassable thicket of Greenbrier, and Greenbrier growing young tips are some of my favorite foods. See them right there, just this growing young tip is very soft and delicious. It's kind of got like an asparagus taste. It's one of my favorite wild foods. I've been eating it forever, since I was a little kid. But it is at the growing tip of the plant, so it'll only grow from these. So if you pluck that, it's not going to grow from that there. And so, in some cases you might not want to pluck it because of that. But in this area, I actually think this area could do a lot with a reduction of the Greenbrier. So I'm going to go through and gather a ton of Greenbrier from just this area, and I'll dry it to store it long term, so it's not going to go bad or anything, but I'll probably eat a ton just walking through here. And there we go, in about 15 minutes, I gathered all these, huge bundle. You can dry these and put them in smoothies or stir fries or stews or anything requiring greens. They're so good, so delicious. I love these. Also, I noticed a bunch of wild onions back there, so I grabbed a little bunch. And hopefully removing all these will keep the Greenbrier down and prevent the canopy from being too occluded and shading out stuff like wild onions.